Thank you, Comrade Speaker and Gracie Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise this afternoon to give my support, my contribution, to Budget 2023. Not my support. I would have been that man on the corner there.
Be careful, Sinclair.
Mr. Speaker, Budget 2023 comes at approximately the midpoint, I'm quoting now, from the document that was submitted and circulated in this National Assembly. The midpoint of the PPC's current term in office, it is therefore it therefore presents a timely opportunity both to look back at the first, I'm doing like my previous speaker now, at the first half of this term, and even more importantly, to look ahead at which is yet to come. We have seen the PPP enchanted by the promise of all revenues spent wisely with scant regard for whether that spending has actually resulted in progress. End of quote from the group of the persons from the Honorable Dr. Ashley Singh's presentation, and I tried to emulate the speaker before me. But Mr. Speaker, they built road at frantic pace, but almost the moment the roads are laid down, they begin to crack and crumble. They throw billions of dollars at education, but achieve lower pass rates in CSEC mathematics, of course, than what the coalition did with far less money. Huge sums are allocated for healthcare each year, but has Guyana's life expectancy improved substantially? No, the answer is no. The PPP believes in output, in spending, but has little interest in outcomes. Mr. Speaker, these concerns merely scratch the surface, but I turn my attention now to the major issues of the day. That is cost of living. That is cost of living. The worst we have seen in 40 years. Mr. Speaker, Guyana's Hinterland region still suffer the most when prices soar, because bringing goods into the region, the transportation cost rose by 20%. Mr. Speaker, can you imagine that a 12-ounce bottle of water on the coast which costs $100? A bottle, not even big like this, Mr. Speaker, will cost $500 in some parts of the region. Mr. Speaker, these concerns... Mr. Speaker, when it comes to essential, you can imagine the cooking gas costs 3 times as much as that on the coast. In fact, I spoke recently with a resident who lamented that gasoline now costs $2,500 per gallon. Filling a car, Mr. Speaker, will cost a shocking $40,000. It is no wonder that the mining industry has suffered so much that the output has contracted by 2.5% last year. The poor performance, of course, Mr. Speaker, despite all of that, you can believe it that gold prices increasing over $3,000 per ounce, $300,000 per ounce, $300,000 per ounce in 2022. If the government had implemented the opposition's recommendation on the cap of fuel, Mr. Speaker, it would have safely guaranteed that you'll get more production in gold. What a tragedy. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind this House that the government of Guyana earned approximately $60 billion of unexpected oil revenue from the same high oil prices. Yet, that also, Mr. Speaker, could have assisted in depressing the price of gasoline. Region 8, Mr. Speaker, has been hurt by a contraction in one of the primary industries, and the painful effects, Mr. Speaker, on food prices because of higher fuel prices is having a strain on the ordinary citizens. Mr. Speaker, no wonder why the price of a bread that is transported into Region 8 costs $1,000. Mr. Speaker, this budget comes at a time when the country can boast of how fast its economy is growing. However, despite all these resources, it can't improve the lives of the ordinary citizens of the region. The PPP never talks about inequality because it likes that. It believes in its elite and friends, families and favorites. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, if you want to doubt that, come to Region 8. Mr. Speaker, the PPP likes to say that it's a fair party, but I have good news for you. One does not discriminate, one which does not discriminate in the award of contracts, license. You come there and you find it, Mr. Speaker. Other government assets are distributed by that so-called, should I say the word or should I skip it? Beef. Vice President, and you know this two-friend thing? He gets all the support, Mr. Speaker. Who gets all the support? Mr. Speaker, we are still to hear what law empowers a vice president to provide any form of government assistance on the basis of friendship. Mr. Speaker, most Guyanese are not Mr. Jagdew's personal friend, Vice President's personal friend. Does this mean that because we are not, or those people are not the friends of the Vice President, they shouldn't get support? Mr. Speaker, nowhere is this attitude more prevalent than in Region 8, which is being treated as it belongs to the family and friends of the elite PPP supporters, and I can vouch on that. Mr. Speaker, I must stress PPP elites because the average person who gets contract there, who gets place to stay, are members of that elite group. For example, Mr. Speaker, a certain board member uses that authority to guarantee contracts in a certain direction, to guarantee job opportunities at a certain location. And I can talk about that because I once sat on that board, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, all the benefits they get, but they give back nothing to the community. That's the kind of tomorrow we want to build, the kind of prosperity. Not Sally Phillips. Moreover, according to a colleague, Mr. Speaker, this year's budget, if we are to divide the total sum, that is that budget figure that was given to us last week, Monday, by the population of this country, every citizen can at least get $1 million. Mr. Speaker, my sympathy goes out to the families in the more remote areas of Region 8. Mr. Speaker, those families have not felt the impact of the relief on tax measures in the year 2020. Neither was it felt in 2021 and also in 2022. And now we are getting another budget and it will not impact them. Where I live, Mr. Speaker, there are people around there and there are people in more remote parts of that community where I'm talking about Campbelltown, I'm talking about in the mountains, where they go to the creeks to get their supply of fresh water. So I cannot see, Mr. Speaker, how this tax relief on water will benefit them. Mr. Speaker, in the region we do not build buildings like these that will require steel, but yet we're expecting to benefit from steel for building of homes in construction. It's a far cry, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to public works, and I'm glad, I'm happy, I'm seeing the honorable member, the one and only. You could recall last year, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member recalled a contract for a road because he spent the total volume of the contract. He paid for a whole road, but could only get half a road. Up to this day, Mr. Speaker, the road is still not fixed. Mr. Speaker, during the 3 years before the no confidence motion in Madhya, 1.8 million was invested in internal roads. And he could, sorry, the honorable member could attest to the fact that he walked on those roads. And those roads got gutters. And the other one that is incomplete has no gutter. And further, I said internal roads, Mr. Kwame McCoy, honorable member, 1.8 billion. And in that process, some wooden bridges were converted to concrete bridge. The one from Wrong Turn to the airstrip is still to be completed, Mr. Speaker. And monies were paid. In fact, when it comes to the lapidary in Monkey Mountain, Mr. Speaker, which is a major economic venture for indigenous peoples, we are very concerned as to the state of affairs of that investment. Similarly, Coalition remedied the massive and very costly Cato Secondary School after the PVC had incompleted. Mr. Speaker, the building was unsafe and could not have been occupied. Cato was a national embarrassment, and that we fear it is. There might be others that the PP will reproduce this year. Let's see Christchurch Secondary. I do not use state funds to move around, Madam Honorable Minister. In this contrast, Mr. Speaker, with the advances we brought in the region, like introducing access to potable water, as this was done at Paramakatoi, a water catchment, Mr. Speaker, was constructed and equipment installed, but as usual, Mr. Speaker, the comrades, the PPP comrades of this House and the install regime oversaw the collapse of that facility. Sad.
Wow.
Mr. Speaker, what has happened to the sun-dried tomato project in PK? This created self-employment to farmers and further employment for processors. It was a landmark project which brought in revenues for the village. We believe in growing businesses, Mr. Speaker, and business opportunity where we see products that have great potential. The PPP only believes in crony capitalism, Mr. Speaker, where nothing innovative is ever developed. Last year, Mr. Speaker, a very distinguished member of this House publicly stated that government paid for a whole road, and I alluded to that earlier. He is right there, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member. Mr. Speaker, our roads are on the fact. Sometime I was going into there, and before you get to Mango Landing, I had to assist to pull a truck from the hole. And on this count, Mr. Speaker, And Mr. Speaker, our rules are unbearable.
Honorable member,
Speak-
before you continue to tell us about these roads, you will need an extension.
Thank you.
We're out of time there.
Comrade Speaker, I do move that the honorable member be given 5 minutes to conclude.
5 minutes.
Proceed, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, when it comes to regional education system that can get a flogging, the Gold Scholarship Program needs to be revamped so as to ensure that recipients can get a gadget and the necessary data so that it would not fall off the program, Mr. Speaker. We need more than just the hubs in the schools. We need them in the villages, and we need them now. We got the resources, Mr. Speaker. Between 2015 to 2020, Mr. Speaker, teachers are given gadgets to deliver the education. And therefore, I'm asking, Mr. Speaker, that our students be given the gadgets with the necessary data so they can do their SBAs and what have you, and do their research in their homes, Mr. Speaker. Some members of this House may recall that the APNU Coalition commenced the 5B program, a program that was terminated under the PPP. That, Mr. Speaker, what we are saying in that region, that because of because we care program should have complemented that. Mining and logging, Mr. Speaker, brings a lot of revenue to this country. And therefore, the only tertiary institution we have there is a teachers training college. Never mind. But what you need is more than that. You need to get, Mr. Speaker, we need to get a tertiary institution for the training of our young people in the technical skills. Because all the boys and girls, if they need to get a technical education, they got to come to either Linden, Georgetown, or New Amsterdam. Why can't we have it in the region? We got the money. Another issue, Mr. Speaker, and I have to, I will say a little more on this. Teacher accommodation. I was part of the teaching community, and I can say safely, Mr. Speaker, that family members got to stay in a room, in a two-room apartment. When you are not comfortable, Mr. Speaker, you cannot perform. We got the money, Mr. Speaker, and therefore you got to build comfortable accommodation for our teachers so they can deliver for these people in the region. Not only teachers, people in the health sector got to live at teachers' quarters. It's not fair. Well, coming to that, APNU had built a station by the airstrip. But you did not continue with that to make the police lives comfortable. Instead, you abandoned that and you went to build a fresh station in Madio. You need to also, Honorable Minister of Ousmen, provide proper accommodation for our policemen so they will not collect gifts. Please, Mr. Speaker, I want to give these recommendations very quickly. We need to have better salaries for our public officers. They work hard to prepare this budget. I must compliment them for that. You'll get it. Mr. Speaker, once these measures that we recommended here is not involved in this, Mr. Speaker, I have a difficulty allowing myself to support it.